Elizabeth Warren is slipping further every day.
Is that what you're telling us? You just won't tell us?
Sounds like your fight might not be with me, but the Office of Government Ethics.
During his Senate confirmation hearing, Trump's new Fed chair nominee ran circles around Warren. And it was so brutal that at one point, he even had the room laughing at her.
Just one little place where you disagree with Donald Trump.
Well, I do have a disagreement, actually. He said that he thought I was out of central casting. I think central casting, I'd look older, grayer, and maybe show up here with a cigar of sorts.
And today, we're covering it all. So let's jump right into it.
So the Fed has been plagued by deeply disturbing ethics scandals in recent years, involving at least 6 Fed officials. So it's critical that the next chair have no financial conflicts, none. You have more than $100 million in investments that you have refused to disclose to ethics officials and to the public. So let me ask, do the Juggernaut Fund or the THSDFS LLC invest in any companies affiliated with President Trump or his family? Companies that have facilitated money laundering, Chinese-controlled companies, or financing vehicles established by Jeffrey Epstein?
Senator Warren, thank you. So let me first share a point of agreement with you. The Fed has 2 tools. One is its monetary policy, and the second is its credibility. And the scandals that you talked about, the ethics problems you talked about, went to the core of the credibility that has hurt the Fed.
Could you answer my question, please? It's a yes or no question.
For a bit of context, after leaving the Federal Reserve in 2011, Kevin moved into the private sector, serving on boards of several major companies like UPS. More importantly, he became a partner and advisor at Stanley Druckenmiller's personal investment firm. That matters because in his financial disclosure, he listed several assets without full detail due to pre-existing confidentiality agreements. Now, that raises serious ethical concerns, and it didn't sit well with Warren. That said, Kevin did pledge to fully divest if confirmed by the Senate. If you think about it, those assets are tied to a private investment firm, so if he discloses them before selling, he'd effectively be revealing Druckenmiller's investment strategy to the public, on top of exposing their financial positions.
I have worked tirelessly with the ethics officials at the Office of Government Ethics.
And you have not
come to an ethics agreement with them
and
have agreed, Senator, to sell all of my financial assets, including the Duquesne assets.
Are you refusing to tell us if you have investments, for example, in vehicles set up to advance Jeffrey Epstein? Is that what you're telling us? You just won't tell us?
Senator, as you know, it sounds like your fight might not be with me, but the Office of Government Ethics. I have come to full agreement with them and have agreed to divest all of those assets,
I'm asking
especially
you a very
those that you referenced
question,
before
Mr.
I take
Warsh,
the oath of office.
And that is, will you disclose how you divest those assets, or will you just collect a check for $100 million from someone whose whole business is betting on what the Fed will do?
It is always something to see members of Congress take a holier-than-thou approach when it comes to private interests. When we look at Elizabeth Warren's case, for example, although she loves framing herself as powered by small-dollar donors, her campaigns have reportedly taken money from more than 30 billionaires during her time in politics. More interestingly, she ranks number 2 on big pharma donations, sitting right behind Bernie. Keep in mind, we're talking about a senator who sits on the Finance Committee, including 2 subcommittees tied directly to industries that actively give money to her, while she is supposed to act as an oversight authority to them. Did I mention she's also part of the Special Committee on Aging, the same one that's supposed to oversee issues like Medicare, creating even more glaring conflicts of interest? So please, Elizabeth, spare us the theatrics. And deep down, she seemed to know that she was being a hypocrite because she quickly shifted into talking about Trump and the 2020 election.
So Donald Trump has made clear that he does not want an independent Fed. In fact, he has said, and I quote, "Anybody that disagrees with me will never be Fed chairman." And he's made clear that you are his sock puppets, saying last week that interest rates will drop, quote, when Kevin gets in. Yeah, I think they do. Not when economic conditions change, we'll get lower rates. Not when the economy needs it. Nope. He said, when my guy, Kevin Warsh, is in there, we'll get the interest rates that I, Donald Trump, wants. So independence takes courage. Let's check out your independence and your courage. We'll start easy. Mr. Warsh, did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
We try to keep politics, if I'm confirmed, out of the Federal
I'm just
Reserve.
asking a factual question. I'm asking, did Donald Trump lose in 2020?
And I'm suggesting you in 2020, the Fed made a huge inflation problem, and you certified the election.
Here's another clear hypocrisy. Warren criticized Trump for politicizing the role of Fed chair, only to end up pushing the nominee into a political game of her own. That's what made his response so effective. You see, the person stepping into the role would be leading an independent agency responsible for monetary policy, not partisan battles. In a politically charged environment, his answer was exactly what it needed to be. The election results were certified, the process was complete, and the focus should be on moving forward rather than talking about something that happened over 6 years ago. But Warren kept pushing, trying to paint Kevin as nothing more than Trump's puppet. And that's when he fired back with a line so sharp, it had the entire room laughing at her. You gotta take a look.
In our meeting,
Monetary
you said
policy out
you
of
would
politics.
be independent because you're, quote, a tough guy. Those were your words, tough guy. And you will be able to stand up to President Trump. So let's try it again. Name one aspect of President Trump's economic agenda with which you disagree.
Well, Senator, the Federal Reserve in recent years has wandered outside of its remit, wandered into other areas.
I'm asking for something
That's
you
not something
disagree
I'm
with
prepared to
Donald
do.
Trump on.
If I'm
Just
confirmed,
one
the Federal Reserve should stay in its
issue.
lane.
Just one little place where you disagree with Donald
Well, I
Trump.
do have a disagreement, actually, Senator, with the president. I think even this morning, he said that he thought I was out of central casting. I think central casting, I'd look older, grayer, and maybe show up here with a cigar of sorts.
Quite adorable. But, you know, we need a Fed chair who is independent. That's the only way we preserve the independence of the Federal Reserve. If you can't answer these questions, you don't have the courage and you don't have the independence.
I agree with you on independence, Senator.
I mean, seriously. What a weak line of questioning that was. Other senators focused on real issues, asking Kevin about the kind of monetary policy that he would pursue or changes he would make if confirmed. On the other hand, Warren spent her time talking about private interests before shifting into Trump in the 2020 election. And then people wonder why Congress struggles to get meaningful work done, or anything really. The reality is, Elizabeth absolutely has the background and ability to press serious economic issues. She has the legal experience for it, yet she continues engaging with low-level questions that are designed to get clicks on the internet over getting anything of value done. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this story. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, you heard it here at the Dais.